Equity and inclusion are vital for the City of Greensboro's ability to grow and innovate in such a fast-changing environment. One Greensboro is a monthly show that highlights some of the ways the Office of Equity and Inclusion honors the observances listed on our Heritage Calendar and spotlights a City of Greensboro employee in a segment we call The One. These observances are an integral part of the National Equal Employment Opportunity and Civil Rights Program and encourage us to live as one people, one community, one Greensboro.
Welcome to this month's episode of One Greensboro. This month we are celebrating Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And what better way to celebrate than to speak with two of our community advocates? We also are visiting the Watt Greensboro. And finally, as always, we will be speaking to one of our City of Greensboro employees during an episode of The One. I am so thrilled this month to talk with all of these individuals because there is so much going on in the world today as far as Asian Americans are concerned and Pacific Islanders are concerned, that we need to make sure that we understand what we need to do to come together as one. We need to understand how we can make the world better, but most of all, Guilford County better, and most of all, Greensboro better. So sit back, relax, and let's visit Asian Pacific Islander Month. As we continue to celebrate Asian Pacific Islander Month, we are here at Watt with Pramaha Samsak. Hey, how are you?
I'm fine, Maria. Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome.
I usually come and it's so full out here with people because I have been coming here for years, but I'm so glad I get a chance to talk with you today. So if you could tell everyone a little bit about yourself and exactly what Watt is so people will know.
Okay, everybody. My name is Pramaha Somsak Sambim. I'm the senior monk or maybe the head board or the president of Khmer Buddhist Society in this place. We call Wat. Wat is mean temple. I came from Thailand about 35 years ago. So I come here to stay in this place we call Wat. Wat is mean the place where the monk living. It means different from home because of what it means not allow anybody to come to disturb, to do something to make the monk like headache. No. What it means the place where the peace place, and try to do everything in the religious ceremony.
Yes.
It means the place to cultivate their mind, to make mind calm, followed by the teaching of Buddha. Yeah, we call Buddhism. The way it means to make your mind, everybody mind calm down.
Right. That is so impactful. And I know for people who have gone through COVID and gone through so many things with loss, it seems so peaceful even out here today.
Yeah,
so,
when COVID coming now, if you worry, it will be sad for you. But if your mind not worry, you can think, understand the situation in the real thing.
Yes.
You understand that is how to protect, how to do everything. That okay. But your mind has to be strong first. If mind not strong, you will go with COVID.
Absolutely. You know you're going to get calls from me more often now because I need you to calm me down. You're going to help me to get together. So tell me about some of your traditions because I see some of this and I know you said 35 years ago. Tell us maybe some of your traditions and how they are today in 2021, how you're living up to
Yeah,
those.
since the beginning of the temple, we start in 1983. Yeah, we rent a house and then we started. And then we come here in 1986. So from that time to now, everything is going on by the, we try to follow or preserve the culture and tradition of our life. You can see we do the sand pagoda, we do something because we have 1 year we have about 13 times of the activity of the temple.
Wow,
yeah.
13.
Yeah, 13 times in 1 year.
In 1 year?
Because of COVID now we
Right.
cannot do anything. Like in New Year Day, we're supposed to have about 800 to 1,000 people, but this year only just a few people.
Wow. And is that actually on New Year's Day, the 1st of January, or is that your New Year's
New
Day?
Year Day, the real day, it should be 13 of
Yes.
April, because
Yes.
that the way that the sun moved to the new zodiac. That we believe like that by the old Chinese culture.
Yes, my good friend that you know, Ty, taught me that years ago, so I knew that. That's great. That's great. So now that COVID restrictions are lifting, what do you see as far as celebrations? Because we all know that May is Asian Pacific Islander month.
Yeah, we still do, but we not allow a lot of people come together.
Okay.
We just suppose like you want to come, you come first. Then when you back, the other come like because the most important thing on that day in New Year Day, the kid who's still living, he try to come to the temple to dedicate the merit to the ancestor who passed away a long time ago. That the very most important, your grandfather, grandmother, or anybody that you love and then you pass away a long time. The person who passed away, they have nothing with them. When they pass away, just nothing, only good and bad. It means merit. So the kid who's still living here try to think or remember about them, about the good thing, as the mother, what the mother do to the kid. That's very important, They just remember and then they try to come to temple to request the monk to chanting for dedicate the marriage to that person.
Yes.
That's the culture, very
Wow.
value culture,
So I know we've talked about it with some other interviews that I've done. Food. There's food out here as well, too, because you all sell vegetables.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, we have vegetables, we have food, we have almost everything that need for daily life of the people.
Absolutely. Wonderful. And how do you think that we can come to one Greensboro and make everybody understand that we all need to be one and not separate with everything that's going on in the world?
That's a good thing to do if everybody understand each other. You have to understand. I know, like Maria, I know you, Maria Soka, like that. And you know me, I know him, and share the idea, what is good. You try to whatever is good, just bring together, and then we go together. That's the way to make the city of Greensboro like safe and happy for everybody.
For everybody.
Yeah, everybody have to joy and share together, not that I don't care, I don't want, I don't that. No, we have to understand that. So that come from mind first. If your mind happy, understand, do, and everything will be possible. But if your mind don't want, it's impossible.
Absolutely. And I can truly say, coming out here as many years as I've come out here, it helps me to be at peace. So thank you all so very much for everything you're doing in the community.
Intention very important.
It is. It is.
When you want to do something, you have to have intention to do and love to do, and like try to find out what is right, what is wrong, and then consider what's going on, then solve that problem. That's the way of successful.
Welcome to this edition of The One. The One is an intimate conversation with City of Greensboro employees that are working to create a culture of oneness in our organization and our city. This conversation will allow you to get to know them and hear their thoughts on our journey to create One Greensboro. Our employee this month is Karan Perswani, HR business partner for our IT department and also a fabulous co-lead for our Asian Pacific Islander Employee Resource Group with the City of Greensboro. Hello, Miss Perswani, Miss Kiran Perswani. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
I hope you're doing good.
I'm doing wonderful today. Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about you and also tell us about your role here at the City of Greensboro.
A little bit about me. I'm from India, originally from India, and I've been here 30 years. I've been working for the city for the last 20 years. This is my 21st year. And I started in engineering inspections, and I'm now in information technology department.
Wow. And so what do you do as far as the employee resource group, as far as that's concerned?
I'm a co-lead of the Asian Pacific Islander group, and I co-lead with Maria Shandor. And this is very interesting to me, close to my heart, and I like to talk about my culture, my heritage, and that's why I enjoy this group a lot.
Wonderful. And we love for you to talk about
Thank
it too.
you.
I'm still waiting to eat. COVID
Yes.
messed us up with eating. So tell us, what is the most interesting project that you're working on right now?
The most interesting project is, again, connected with ERG Group, which is the Asian Pacific Islander group, and I'm a part of it. Next month, May is our Heritage Month, and we are planning lunch and learns. We are planning, a solidarity walk due to the recent events we have, heard and seen in New York and in Atlanta and several different places, and it is. I think this is the time. This is a perfect time to bring it up and see how the Asians have contributed to the growth of this country, and they are an integral part of the society, and just to protect them and show the city's solidarity actually together. So we wanted to do something for them, and so we're working on that.
Absolutely. That's an excellent idea. I'm so glad you all came up with that. And you're also going to do a moment of silence, I believe, as well,
yes,
too.
Yes, we are.
Wonderful, wonderful. So now switching gears a little bit, who inspires you and why?
Oh, Maria, I've gone through a lot of problems, issues since I've been in this country, personal and financial and, employment-wise. And so I think it's basically me. I have to talk to myself, and I have to inspire myself daily with our scriptures and just different readings, positive readings, to be able to keep going and to be where I am right now.
Wow. And can I say something to you? You probably didn't know I was going to say this, but you inspire me. You always do. You are so special, and I see how you move forward even when situations are there. So I just want to know you inspire other people as well.
Thank you very much.
So just wanted to put that out there. Who would you most like to swap places with if you could for one day?
I've thought about that a lot, and it could be your mentors, your supervisors, your teachers. I think I would like to swap places with my dad for one day, even though he's not with us anymore. He left us in 2019. But he was full of positivity. In every situation, he could find something positive, and every day he could find something positive to talk about and move on. And I used to tell him that. I said, I wish I can be even 1% like you. So, yeah, if I can be somebody, I would like to swap for just one day and see how he felt. Because he went through a lot growing up, and when he grew older, he had few health issues, but the way he portrayed them, it was
never
know. We never knew.
Wow.
Everything was first class.
Yes. So now I see where you get it from.
Yes.
First class. That's right. Now, switching again, how is celebrating Asian Pacific Islander Month, especially here at the City of Greensboro, so important in us moving forward with this One Greensboro concept? Why is this important that we do this?
It is very important to me personally also, because I've worked for the city for so long, and I've seen it, different aspects of how we do things here, and the support, encouragement we get as employees, and bringing the Asian Pacific Islander group. And that's one of the reasons I joined the ERG group, and that helps me bring our culture, our heritage to, so that, because I feel that since we have been here, it's like if you live half your life here and half, where you came from, you want to be one with them. And I think that we are all same, people. It's just different ways of living. And, I've seen excitement in people when I tell them where I come from. And, it could be anything. It could be clothes, culture, food, but it's just giving knowledge, learning from them. And, this is a nice gateway to teach people where we come from.
Absolutely. And I know you all mentioned having like a culture fair or an internal culture fair within your culture to make sure everybody understands where everyone comes from.
I think it's about 50 or over countries included in Asian Pacific Islander group. So we have diverse culture, beautiful colors, different festivals, and we would love to bring those out to share with our, Greensboro family.
Absolutely. And our favorite. What's our favorite?
Food.
Hello, there we go. It's you and I. Yes. So with all that being said, how is it that we can make this impact on One Greensboro with the Asian Pacific Islander culture externally? What can we do to help Greensboro, the city as a whole?
It's again education, educating people who we meet, as our police officers meet, our, paramedics meet, as we go out in the community, kind of just make them aware where what we are, and just different learning methods, and it could be different tools, maybe learning different languages to be able to communicate with people, just being empathetic. That's what it is, yes.
Well, you have been very, very inspirational to me today, and you always are. And I just thank you and the group, and Marie also, for everything that you all are doing. Please keep up the good work. And thank you so much for talking with me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Now we're going to have a wonderful conversation with Uma and Ashish. Hi, you two. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having us on.
Great. Thank you for being here. What better way to celebrate Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month than to really talk with two community advocates? And they're going to take a moment to introduce themselves in just 1 second. But why don't we get into that actually before we start the questions? Uma, would you like to start us off and tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself and any background information you would want us to know?
Sure. So my name's Uma Ava. I guess if I had to say what my profession is, I'm a retired stay-at-home mom and community volunteer. But my background is public health. So one of the things I've always been very interested in is the community and looking at things from a community perspective versus an individual perspective. So over the last, I would say 20 plus years that I've been living in Greensboro, I have worked on, or I've been part of many nonprofit boards. And in terms of the city, some of the things that I've been like the vice chair of the Greensboro Public Library. I've been on the Historical Museum Board. At one point, I was the president of the Guilford County Council of PTA. So I was meeting with the superintendent. That was when my kids were a little bit younger. And then right now, I would say my focus is a little bit more shifted, a little bit more in terms of the city. I was, when Guilford County got the CARES relief money,
yes,
I was part of the task force that helped distribute the monies to nonprofits. Currently, I'm on the Community Foundation board and also on the Cone Health Program Committee. I also served as like the state president for the North Carolina Medical Society Alliance. So health is a big thing in my life, but
Absolutely.
Education and community is really a big deal. But I guess in terms of equity and inclusion, one of the things that I'm doing right now is I'm a co-founder of something called TPAN, which is the Triad Pan Asian American Network.
Yes,
and we can talk more about that later.
Absolutely. That is one of those things that I definitely want us to integrate into this conversation because that is so very important. And I thought I was busy, Uma, but I think you almost have me beat.
I'm having a great time.
and we love it. We love it. We love it. I had on yesterday a shirt that I have and I wear it all the time. It's called Super Mom. So I'm Super Mom, Superwoman. We just do everything. I love it. But now we're going to bring in another perspective because I know he's just as busy. So Ashish, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you've been up to in the community.
Thank you. And those credentials are not so great as Uma just now said,
No.
but she really set the bar very high. But thank you for having me, and it's a great opportunity to speak to you and with Uma as well. So personally, I am originally from India, been in the States for about 21 years now. In fact, both the kids are now grown, born and brought up here. So, but they have been in Greensboro for over 8 years now, little bit over 8 years. And by trade, I am a mechanical engineer. I work for Volvo Group in the trucking business. So I past 18 months, I've been always on the critical side of the business, mowing trucks and seen a lot as the world has changed, America has changed because of this COVID. Yes. But on the side note, I am also the chairman of the India Association of the Triad, it's called India Association of the Triad, but it is basically a platform to I would say is promote the rich culture of India. India is 10,000 years old culture. So between the Triad, Winston-Salem, High Point, and Greensboro put together, and I think we now have some members even from Morrisville. So,
Wow.
so the kids get to know about India, the culture. As I see my two boys growing up, they are never going to be the same as we were brought up. But at least, as I always say, even if we are able to give them 10% of the culture, I think as a parent, I would have done my job. So that's why I get involved in these community activities, and ultimately everything benefits for the community, whether it doesn't matter who is from, but ultimately everybody enjoys the same thing. But as Uma alluded, and I am also I kind of right now involved more with the kids activities, whether it is Battle of the Books or the Odyssey of the Mind, more in tune with the Guilford County schools. They have excellent programs, and because of my job, I can't devote 100% time, but whatever I can in their Greensboro Science Robotics program. So wherever I can, I do appreciate the efforts the city makes and the county makes, and therefore I try to do my best to do as much as I can from my standpoint. So,
Absolutely. And I just applaud both of you all as community servants. Thank you so much for everything that you do, not only for Guilford County, Greensboro, but also people within your culture and making sure your culture and your heritage is explored to its fullest. And that is so very important, especially in this month of May, which leads me to my next question. Why was the month of May chosen? Either one of you could start off with this as Asian Pacific Islander Month. What is the history behind that?
Ashish, you want to go first?
Oh, that's okay. I can go. I think I can only relate to not being really from a so-called islander, but I think somehow you call it a coincidence or or whatever I know of that is that every time the people have migrated to this nation, we all are immigrants to this nation, and it happens to be that boatload of people have always come in the month of May. I think that is one of the things where the presidents, if it goes back to Mr. Jimmy Carter, Mr. George Bush, who kind of from time to time have signed orders and given the month of May the prominence in terms of the culture which these Asian islanders have brought in, and to be honest, it's a very rich culture. So
and diverse.
Yeah, and very diverse. Yes, diverse. And very diverse, and then you'll be amazed when I talk to some of those people, and even Greensboro being a very good harbor city, and we had few of our team members from the Indian Association run for the IAC Council also, and it was so nice to meet some of these people from the islanders, and believe me, some of them had the deep roots in India, but they didn't know. But just because I knew some of the surnames, so I could say, hey, I think you belong to. No, I belong to this place on this side of the Pacific Ocean, and so on and so forth. So I think, making the long story short, I think what is the whole thing about is that richness and diversity of the culture. I think is probably the key to it, and I guess with the winter over, with everything over, May is the month where I think everybody's excited to go out and mingle. I think that's my rationale to it. I'm sure it's not the correct one. So
wonderful. Uma, did you have anything you wanted to add?
So I think I actually had to do a little bit of research about this because I'm like, I don't know, why is May the month of? Doesn't make any sense to me. And I think so. What it really is, I mean, as Ashish alluded to, I mean, it is it is a month that the federal government kind of allocated, but it really acknowledges, I mean, Asian Americans are not, as you alluded to, a monolithic community. In fact, it's made up of countries that may have very wrought type of interactions with each other. So it's not this cohesive group. So I think it really did allude to, actually, I think I read somewhere that the first Japanese Americans came in the month of May.
Correct.
And also it was a nod to the Chinese that built the Transcontinental Railroad. So that was at least some of the impetus behind having a month for Asian Americans. But as I said, it's not a monolithic group. Ashish and I are part of the Indian subcontinent, and not necessarily, but when we talk about Asian Americans, and Pacific Islanders, we're also including Korean, Vietnamese, people from Laos, Thailand, we can go on and on. And so it is a very diverse group. So sometimes I don't really like, to be honest, I don't really like having to put the word blank American. If you want to know the truth, I really would rather just be known as an American whose heritage is from another country. Absolutely. Because I think that is really the commonality of all of us, regardless of our race or ethnic origin. I mean, except for Native Americans.
And would you also say, especially a little bit off of what we talked about, but I'm sure you two can jump in, and I know we'll probably briefly talk about this because we could talk about this for all the rest of the afternoon. But with everything that's going on in the world today, also putting that label on there is so hurtful. And so it's just a lot going on. It's a very loaded label. Would you say, how are you all feeling about the climate and your culture right now and celebrating it?
Actually, Ashish, can I take this question first?
Sure, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think last year, I think in April or May, my co-founder, Tiffany Lambeau and I actually wrote an op-ed in terms of the paper about this very issue. Because of the political climate that we had, there was a real we felt like there was a backlash against Asian Americans in general. Now, it surprisingly got published. And I remember when I was talking to my neighbors, they're like, aren't you being a little overly sensitive about this? And I'm like, I don't know. Am I being overly sensitive about this? We had a situation where somebody said that they were being spit upon, that they were afraid to let their mothers go to the grocery store alone at night. Some of it was in Greensboro, some of it was in North Carolina. And then lo and behold, a year later,
still
it's happening more. And then the crisis with what happened in Atlanta.
Yes.
That was a kind of horrid intersection of being Asian, being misogynistic, being just a lot of bad stuff going on. But I was really proud of the way the Greensboro community and actually the city came together, because we had a listening session. Our Greensboro is a settlement refugee town.
It is.
And, home to Montagnards. Mm-hmm. We know that when we looked at the COVID data that Asian Americans were really having a hard time in North Carolina, in Greensboro. And, and then being fearful about going out. That was kind of sad. I live in a bubble. I'll be the first one to say that, Marie. I live in a bubble. I live in a great neighborhood where people are very accepting. And, but I think that is not the experience of everyone else. No. And I think that's something as Asians, since we're all lumped in a group together, I think that's where we need to be supportive of people. And really the political climate was such that it really contributed to that as well.
It was.
Sorry, I don't mean to get too political.
No.
We're
You
talking about it. So
totally. And one thing, just as an invitation before I let Ashish answer that, is I'm so proud of the city employees. They have come together, and we actually will be having May 20th, in a few weeks, a unity walk where we will be walking in solidarity, showing during the month our support again, for everything that's gone on, because that's what it's going to take it to the next level. And it sounds like both of you all agree. Because I
agree. Yes. Yeah.
Ashish, did you have anything you wanted to add?
And I think Uma summed it very well. I would just say that I think the initiatives from the city are a welcome proposition. I think Uma is right. Uma, like people like Uma or myself, we live in a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
There is an acceptability and probably surrounded by the people who are educated. And I think political environment does make a difference, because one thing at the end of it, we all are Americans, and
bottom line.
That's the bottom line, Yes. Do you want to? Maybe I'm jumping here to your one of the other questions. Is it true that I am a squeezed generation between my kids, how they are brought up? They are true Americans. They don't know anything about India, the culture, So yes, I am a squished generation, but does it mean I am less American? I don't think so. So
exactly.
So am I willing to make the sacrifices for the nation? Absolutely. That is so. I think what I applaud the city and you and everybody, that if you come together and share this vision and diversity, I think that goes a long ways, because Uma is right. We have to grow above the political lines and color of the skin or anything,
Mm-hmm.
and view this as how, and especially the Greensboro, which is a welcome city for a city like Greensboro, and it's known. And I'll be honest, I did not know till I learned about IAC, and my son went for an internship. I forget the name of the company he worked in downtown for, and it helps the refugees and the asylum seekers with their paperwork and everything, and he had tons of things to learn. So and I was myself, I said, wow, the city does all this. I said, yeah. So I think we need to, all I can say is that we need to do a better job of educating more and more people about the diversity and the initiatives in that direction, so that all these names, Asians or anything you want to say, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, that all goes away, and we all stand as one American. So.
Absolutely. And one thing that Kiran Perswani and I always say, and we are working on it, and we will invite both of you all, we're going to eat. When we can get together again, the culture itself, I love Indian food. I love Vietnamese food. I love Thai. Food alone should unite us all. So I'm just excited to break bread together again. So,
I'm with you. Food brings people together more than anything else.
That's right. That's right. So, and one thing else that I would say, y'all, I'm going to pause. All right. So the next question that I would love to get into is, how can we create one Greensboro for the Asian Pacific Islander population here in the area? Because you all have talked about the intergenerational differences that occur, how can we unite and also educate, would you say? Any suggestions?
Ashish, I'll let you go first.
Oh, Ashish, sure.
I think the most, and this is just off the cuff, and if I had to do something, if you were to reverse places and I was sitting on your chair, I think before, not last year was COVID, that was 2020. 2019, I remember that in the Lebar Park there was a Korean festival. Okay, yes, then after a few weeks there was something else, and then there was Indian festival. Okay, which was obviously organized by my organization, and we played the Festival of Colors, which was the Holi, which was played in the downtown. The reason I say that is that it was interesting to see, and we will try to do it again as soon as we open, that how many people, besides the Indian ethnic Indian ethnic people, how many other cultures were playing and the colors and having fun and eating the food. So why I'm giving you this background is that one thing if we should do is that, I don't know what the right word is, but I think what I call is have a gala event where different have a podium, let the cultures perform, let the
have a party, Ashish.
Yes, have a party, let there be dance and music, and let there be stalls and booths, and if the city organizes it and the city promotes it, I think you will get a wonderful response, and I think instead of people trying to do it individually, and I would say, let's forsake Koreans do it, Nepalese do it, and Indians do it. Why not provide a common platform from everybody?
Jointly.
And if you take that initiative, I can promise you, I knowing few people from other these associations, non-profit associations, I think they will be willing to step in a big time. And I think most importantly, it is the time, because very simply, and as I said, that I even in my community initiatives, I see where my children go, because or how they follow, because that's what I need to follow and tell the people. And I think they like it when they have to go wearing a traditional dress. That it doesn't mean anything. They, other day my son was a Japanese. We bought him a samurai and other thing for some event, and he enjoyed it. And that's how you get people closer to the culture. I think that would be my one suggestion, that if we can do that, and I'm sure Uma has something more, but that would be one thing, I think, big initiative for Greensboro One. And I think there will be a lot of people who will donate and probably will not cost city anything except the space and the facilities. So
wonderful. I love it. I'm on it. Trust me, I'm on it, because my daughter dances for Daliana Dance, and they were out there at one of the festivals. Last year she didn't dance, but I know Daliana participates quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I know her very well.
Yes, Daliana.
She is a fantastic dancer.
Oh, the colors and everything. You can't help but love when you see all of that. So excellent. I'm writing that down, and I'm making a mental note. So thank you.
Thank you.
How about you to wrap things up? What do you think should be done?
So I do think that's a great idea. I used to live in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is a military town for.
Oh yeah, my sister lived there.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So I remember growing up, and we had a multicultural festival. So it was and we had a parade of nations, and we had dancing in the street, and but I think Ashish has hit on something when it can't. I mean, as much as I like the separate things, it is the full kaleidoscope of everyone coming together. And maybe this is because I immigrated so long ago that, I believe that we were the melting pot versus the tossed salad. So I love the aspect of the fusion. And we have to acknowledge that things are changing. So we look at it from a city perspective, but I also think it really boils down to an individual thing. I think the bottom line is we need to be curious about each other and ask questions and invite someone to dinner. I believe food is a big thing, but I mean, they say the most segregated time in the South is on Sunday during church.
It is.
And I always thought about that. And I feel like we're segregated a lot of the time, all the time. And I think we've got it down packed in the sphere of the work, right? The work environment. Mm-hmm. But it's our social interaction. It's our social connections that I think that's where we really need to move. Unfortunately, so many programs end up, I always say, it's the people who are in the chorus that are going to those things versus other people. So it's about reaching out. It's about us as Indians, as Asians, reaching out to somebody who looks different than us.
Yes.
So that's kind of the premise of the Triad Pan-Asian American Network in some way, because at first I thought, oh, maybe I should do, it's a philanthropic giving circle where we all combine our money and then give it to to issues that are important to Asians. So for example, during COVID, we gave money to the Montagnard Association, DEGA Association, but we also gave it to the Guilford Education Alliance, who was buying laptops because we knew that all the kids who were coming from poor neighborhoods needed access to technology. Yes. So it was an Asian issue, but really it's a community issue that transcends that. But I do believe that we have to move beyond our own silos.
We do.
And the only way we do that is to make sure intentionality of inviting people into our homes and into our spaces. At one point, I was part of this initiative called Impact Greensboro, and they paired us up with people. And so I guess I can say that my partner was a gay white man. And we were supposed to bring people into our spaces. So Ashish, I brought him to our Hindu temple. And I went to the Guilford Green Gala. And it was, so I will tell you, it was very interesting. I've always thought I was a very open person, but the whole process showed me how much more open I should be and need to be. And all the issues, and it really made me confront my own discomfort, believe it or not, of bringing not a gay man to the temple, but bringing a man who was not my husband.
Right.
And my mom was like, yes. What are you doing? And I was, so we have these cultural, whether it's biases or reticence that we're not even aware of until we start confronting them in our own personal life. So I do think it's one person at a time, reaching out and being very intentional. And especially for the people that are on the, that are on the border, yes. We have to be very intentional, because if I can't say that I have someone that is coming to my dinner who's Black, who's white, who's Indian, who's whatever, I have to ask myself the question, am I living the values that I think I have? But unless we start doing that internal work, it's going to take a while. But you have to do, so as a community, we bring things together. And I want to just lift up the historical museum, because I think that is one institution in the city that I'll tell you, when they asked me to be on the board, I actually said, why do you want me on the board? This is not the board where I need to be on. And Carol Hart, who is the director there, was like, no, I want this place to reflect our community. Our community is a community where 100 different languages are being spoken.
Absolutely.
And they did an Asian exhibit. And so she invited us to be part of that. And then not only did they stop there, that was their second foray into even dipping their feet into the Asian experience. Right. But then they said, hey, there's so much, there's the intergenerationality and the differences between who Ashish is, who I am, who both of our children are, and how we react to, how do we look at ourselves as Americans, that became a whole nother exhibit. Now, saying the words don't mean anything to me, but walking that walk, to do that. And she did that for like the Warnersville community. She did that for, and just
that's
bringing
the inclusion
in.
Piece. That
is the inclusion piece.
Because we all are so diverse. I'm an African-American female, you all with your culture and background and where you're coming from, as long as we can come and agree. And that's what I've been teaching on for the last month, to respect each other. We may not like each other, but respect each other and include each other as much as possible. So
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Maria, I don't have to be like Ashish. I don't have to be like you. We can have our differences politically, culturally. That doesn't matter, but we should celebrate our similarities, which is I think our humanity. And I think as I talk to people, really, I think most people are just good people, and we just have to recognize that. Yes. And I think one of the questions you had posed before was, I think that's one of the values that I feel like my religion and my heritage have given me, at least from how I grew up in the sect that we belong to as a family. We were always taught all religions are just different pathways to God. Right. But so that was one tenet. And the other tenet is that there is the divine in all of us. And so if there's a divine in all of us, that means I need to treat you with respect. I need to treat Ashish with respect. I need to treat the guy down the street who, frankly, I have nothing in common with respect. And so I think we say, what are we going to pass down to our children? That's what I hope. The kids love the food. They love getting dressed. We're having a big Bollywood Indian wedding soon in our family. So everyone's excited about that. But really, it's those fundamental values of humanity that I feel like that's what we need to stress, and a family and duty.
Absolutely. And that's the same for me. And if we all could do that, that is that one Greensboro that I'm
correct. Yes.
So you all, this has been so enlightening, so informative, and you all have to come back. I'm gonna have to do part 2 with you all very, very soon. And
Ashish, I feel like I talked too much. Sorry.
No,
I think
you did awesome. This is wonderful. And
that's all experience,
Exactly. And this is what it's all about. So I thank you both so very much, because the viewers of this show will really, truly understand Indian culture, more or less, but also the fact that it's not separate. We're all just one Greensboro. That's the huge takeaway at the end. So thank you for your work. Thank you for your time. And hopefully I'll see you all soon. Hopefully we can eat when we see each other.
Absolutely.
I want to eat.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And actually, I'm going to do that wholly next time it happens. I want to do
that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right.